It seems to me in the automotive industry these days that vinyl wrapping is becoming more and more popular with folks who want to customize and differentiate their cars from the other vehicles on the road. This Rivian R1T next to me here is no exception. This is owned by my friend and colleague Kyle Connor that runs the Out of Spec Studios team. And he sent his R1T down to G at Test Bros in Chattanooga, Tennessee to get something very unique. A full color changing printed vinyl wrap to make this thing truly stand out. Today's real topic though is talking about how do we actually polish vinyl wrap. Polishing also comes with really cleaning the vinyl wrap. We're going to get more into that. And then probably one of the most important parts is how do we protect this? And that is really with a ceramic coating. So we're going to be talking all of that and more on today's Out of Spec Detailing episode. Welcome back. Let's jump into it. As I said, vinyl wraps are becoming more and more common these days. There's a lot of folks that say you bought a Tesla Model 3 that literally comes in 5 colors. You want to stand out from the crowd rather than blending in with every single other Model 3 on the road. I also think of folks like the Tesla Cybertruck owners that literally comes in one color option, which is of course the stainless steel. Pain in the butt to clean, pain in the butt to maintain, and a lot of folks are just like, I've had enough, we're just gonna vinyl wrap it. So I think this is an important video for people to understand a little bit more about the maintenance behind vinyl wraps. Yes, it may sound great, but there are some drawbacks, I would say, to vinyl wraps. First off, they're very thin. This is not paint protection film. They are literally between 3 to 5 mils thick, where PPF is around 8 to 11 mils thick. So a huge difference there. You don't install a vinyl wrap to really protect your paint. Will it do some? Yes, it'll help with scratches. It will help with some rock chips, but not all. Now, Kyle's Rivian R1T here was done around 6 months ago. We put G on a very tight timeline to get it done. And ideally, we would have had it ceramic coated on day 1, but this was a true push to actually get the R1T done. Plus, we wanted to make a video here on how you actually ceramic coat vinyl. Now, of course, as all projects of Kyle's, the vehicle's been gone, it's gone on adventures and been tested with other vehicles on the road. It's kind of been put on the back burner. So this has been sitting outside. It's been off-road, it's been through a winter already, completely unprotected. Kyle has also neglected it, if you will, by taking this through a normal car wash. Not a brush car wash, but a high pressure car wash. Now, the negative with that, those chemicals are always not the most friendly on vinyl wraps. Plus the high pressure with edges and things like that, with the nature of a vinyl wrap, can start to cause issues. One of the biggest issues though with vinyl wraps is they are very, very soft. If you guys have watched this channel before, you know I talk about this when we get into clear coats and polishing things like black Tesla paint that is just unbelievably soft. This is on a whole nother level. What does that mean? Well, it means scratches are more apparent and more easy to kind of install, if you will, into the vinyl wrap. So washing should be really no different if you're doing it properly to your contact wash that you're doing on your normal painted vehicle. I'll leave a video in the link in the description below to where I talked about the 1 bucket method, which would be amazing to use on your vinyl wrapped vehicle. You have to be a little bit more sensitive with vinyl. It's very thin, like I said, it's very soft, but it's also very, very porous, meaning that dirt is more attracted to it and really gets embedded into the top surface of it. Now, part of the issue with this, I've already washed the Rivian here and it is filled with junk. I'll show you down the doors. We'll do a walk around before we get into polishing and coating this and show you what an unprotected wrap looks like and why ceramic coating it and before polishing it is going to make a huge, huge difference. Now, like I said, this is a little bit different. So essentially, this is a 2-layer vinyl wrap. I'll bring you guys in closer and show you. But this entire color, all the pattern is printed on this massive machine. Now, most vinyl wraps you're gonna get are single solid colors. So this has essentially a clear topper on it, but it's vinyl, not paint protection film. So it'll be slightly different. Now, when polishing these, we don't want to go crazy on it, right? We don't want to break out heavy wool pads and microfiber cutting disc and insanely aggressive compounds and really heat the wrap up. That's one of the biggest things here. You kind of have to be gentle with it. You also can't get everything out. Deep scratches that get in vinyl wrap, 9 times out of 10 are not repairable. So during this process, I'm not going for 99 to 100% perfect paint correction. What I'm rather doing is cleaning up the wrap, getting quite a few soft, easy to remove scratches out, coating it and sending it on its way. So we're not chasing perfection here. We're just trying to make it a lot cleaner, get the contaminants out of the vinyl wrap, get it protected, and then we'll do this process again in a year, 2 years, whatever it may be. Now, the longevity of this really depends on your certain vehicle and how you use your vehicle. Kyle's cars all sit outside. They rarely get washed and they're always everywhere. They're in extreme temperatures. Here in Colorado, we get 100 degrees in the summer, negative 20 to 30 degrees in the winter, which is insanely hard on vinyl wrap. So having that layer of protection on there that'll help sheet off of the dirt, the grime, the tree sap, the bugs, whatever it may be, it's gonna help having it coated. So let's take a walk around here first after I wash this and see how it actually looks now. From first glance, you would think this is just another green Rivian until you start to see all of the cool designs that G at Test Bros designed. This thing truly stands out and looks extraordinary. But again, not having this thing ceramic coated has really started to show its wear. Now this spot, I've done some test spots here with some polish, but you can see all of this kind of chalkiness on the vinyl wrap. That is that embedded dirt we're talking about. You can look down the door here and really see all of this. Now you would say, oh, well, you can just kind of wipe that off. You didn't wash it good enough. This is embedded into the vinyl wrap. So that's where grabbing a polish and polishing this thing up is going to totally transform this. Now on top of that, we of course have quite a few other environmental issues on here, such as bugs, such as water spotting. So if I put my light on here, you can just see little areas like this. We've got some water staining on here. Again, completely unprotected for about 6 months time, sitting outside in Colorado, getting snowed on. You can see some big water spots there. And it's also got quite a few micro scratches in it. Now, if I go down the door here, you can see those in the light. Up here, we have tons of little bug stains, as you can see right in this area. And this is what happens to vinyl when you get a rock chip. So we'll basically just pop that off. Now, one of the big things with polishing vinyl is you have to be careful with edges. We don't want to get in here and start lifting these edges while we're going over it, polishing it, because then we're going to have to replace panels. On something like this, it's going to make it majorly challenging. Now, areas over here. This to me looks like a bird dropping, and I'm hoping we can get this out no problem. We'll kind of see how bad it is, but again, this side has quite a few scratches. Now, knowing Kyle in this particular situation, this car, after it gets coated, is still gonna live outside. It's still gonna live a rough life on the road. It's gonna be off-roaded. It's gonna get pinstriped like it already is. So I'm not going for perfection. I'm rather trying to clean it up, get the grime out of it, protect it, and make it look as good as possible. Now back here, as you may be able to see, this is dog slobber. So Kyle and Alyssa have 3 amazing dogs that they take with them. They slobber all over the vehicles, and this is a situation you can get into as well with dogs. So not only do we have embedded dirt like we do down here, it's really crazy how much more this really holds into a wrap rather than traditional clear coat here. Look at the back of this thing. You can see how hazy and dull it is. Again, I've washed this twice and it does not come out. This stuff is truly holding on to it. Now with the ceramic coating, it's gonna help a lot more disengage all of that dirt on there when you do go to wash it. So let's talk about polishing and really get into it. Now, what I would tell you one of the biggest things is do test spots on here. So I just grabbed a light polish that I would use on any paint on a microfiber towel, quickly wipe this in, boom, looks perfect. You don't need to go crazy with this. The biggest thing you don't want to do is grab a compound, grab a microfiber cutting disc, a wool pad, and hammer this thing. Try and get all the scratches out of it, get every single last bit out of it. The ideal way to protect your vinyl wrap is from day one to get it ceramic coated. If you're getting it ceramic coated by your installer, or if you're doing a ceramic coating by yourself, that's what we're gonna be doing today. So we're gonna be using a DIY friendly ceramic coating, which is Geon Mo's Evo. It's one any of you can buy off the shelf. It's a great ceramic coating, of course, made by Geon. It installs unbelievably well. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are gonna have questions about that. Well, isn't that a paint coating? Yes, it is. There are coatings for paint protection film and vinyl wraps out there. I've used quite a few of them, and honestly, in my experience, I've had 3 or 4 vinyl wrapped vehicles myself. They don't last at all. They last about 6 months, maybe 9 months. Now with Geon Mo's Evo, I've seen a lot better protection on them. And the nice thing is you can do it on gloss, you can do it on satin, and sometimes even matte, depending on the manufacturer of the vinyl wrap. The most important thing though, I want you guys to understand when doing this to your vehicle, this is one specific use case, and this is also a printed vinyl wrap. If you go too crazy with something like a solid gloss film, you can actually start to change the vehicle's color because it is basically solid all the way through there. If you go too crazy polishing it, you can start to get splotchiness, make it lighter, make it darker. You don't want to get into that. You just want to clean it, get a few lub marks out of here, and move along, get it coated, and enjoy your vehicle. Now, vinyl wraps don't last forever. We're realistically talking about 3 to 5 years. Now, that's very, very dependent on the vehicle. If it lives in a climate controlled shop like this, or if it's parked outside like Kyle's vehicle, you're gonna get very different longevity out of your vinyl wrap. The most important thing is who you have install it. Now, I've done some stuff myself. I've done some stuff for Kyle. My work is not perfect. I am a professional detailer, not a professional vinyl wrap installer like G from Test Pros is here. So let's get into the polishing, what we're gonna be using, my recommendations, and let's hammer this thing out and get it protected. So let's talk polishing vinyl wraps. Is it similar to polishing vehicles' paint? Yeah, absolutely. But there are some major differences you need to know. So of course, this is a thin material. Of course, it has color within that material. So you want to be very careful with that. You want to avoid heating this panel up too much. If you do overheat vinyl wrap, especially on edges like here on the door handle or door edges, you can start to actually shrivel up the vinyl. Then you're getting into having to replace panels. Now with vinyl, that sounds nice and easy instead of having a whole car repainted or areas repainted on a vehicle. But what you may run into is if your vehicle is 2 years old with a vinyl wrap on it, the color may have faded over time. Then you go to slap a new panel on it and it's completely different color. Then you're having to redo the whole car. So if you understand where I'm going here, you have to be careful with it. Now polishes, there's literally hundreds out there. There's also specific polishes made for vinyl wrap and paint protection film. I personally am just going to use paint polishes on here. I treat vinyl wrap very similar to paint with what I do with polishes, ceramic coatings, how I wash them. They're just a little bit more fragile. So when selecting a polish, go with something you know. If you've never polished a vehicle before, I may be very, very careful. If this is your first time, you got a vinyl wrap, it's got scratches all over it, you're like, this is gonna be my Sunday project, I'm gonna polish out my car. Be careful with it. You can definitely get yourself into trouble. Also, different manufacturers of vinyl wrap, they're all gonna react differently. A Nosotec is gonna be completely different to 3M, and they're gonna be different to KPMF, and so on and so on. Of course, you cannot polish satin or matte finished vinyl. This is only for gloss. If you're getting satin or matte, get it ceramic coated day one and protect it as much as you can, because if you do get contamination like this has in it, you can't really do much of anything with it. You can't polish it. It's going to make it shiny, going to make it splotchy. So keep that in mind. Now over here, 5 different polishes that I'll grab for on any given day on any given car. You know, something like a Tesla Model S that has very, very soft metallic black or non-metallic black paint, I'll grab Sonax Perfect Finish. On something like a Rivian that would be in white, maybe I'll go for the FG01 here from Koch Chemie. It very much depends. Now here, don't go crazy on it. You need something that has a little bit of bite, but that finishes down nice and is also not gonna create what we call stiction on the actual vinyl here. A lot of times I've seen vinyl wrapped being polished and you get these kind of marks from the actual polish and the machine on here, and it looks absolutely terrible, and a lot of guys just leave it on there. Now there are ways around that. For one, we work at a different speed here. So number one, we work at a lower speed on the machine, but we use faster arm speed. So what I mean by that is instead of like paint correcting going very slowly like this, we're going a lot quicker, very similar to jeweling paint, maybe not even quite as quick as that, but somewhere in between. The thing we're trying to avoid here again is heat. Heat is our enemy on not only clear coat, actually with clear coat, you want heat to cut better, but in this case, we want as little heat as possible. We just want to get the stuff out and boom, we're done. So, a few things on this. Go anywhere in between here. Something like Uno Pure from Rupes, probably not, it doesn't have enough cut. This is like absolute jeweling finishing polish here. Or something in the middle here like Rupes Yellow or even FG01's probably great, and M302 micro cut from Koch Chemie. These are all probably fine. Now you want to test them. So if you test one of these and it reacts terribly, take a step back, adjust what you're doing here. You may either need more speed on the machine, you may need to move your arms faster or slower, you may need more or less pressure. Realistically on vinyl wrap, you want less pressure because you're not forcing in as much heat into the film, into the panel, and then you need to adjust how much polish you're actually using. So if you start off with a pea size drop, maybe bump it up to a dime and then a nickel and then a quarter, you may get to the point where you, with vinyl wrap in your specific case, need to use a lot more liquid on there rather than, you know, a little tiny drop. It just very much depends. So that's why it's hard for me to say, use this exact thing on your exact vehicle, because this vinyl is going to be different from the guy who lives in Southern California or that lives up in New York. It's very dependent. Now pads. Pads are a big thing we need to talk about here. Again, hundreds of different pads out there. Now what I like to use is Rupes foam pads. I use this basically strictly for all of my polishing. These are the yellow ones, and I personally don't like the white ones. They're too fine. Whole story we could get into. That's a whole separate video. But they make all different sizes. This is technically their 7-inch one, which fits on a 6-inch machine. They have a 6-inch pad, which fits on a 5-inch machine, a 4-inch pad, which fits on a 3-inch machine. Very confusing, but all different sizes. Now you may be thinking to yourself, okay, why would I ever use this guy? Well, this is great for small areas, but you may also be thinking, this does less polishing damage than the bigger guy, so maybe I'll just polish it all with this. Funny, a lot of people don't know this. The smaller machines, basically the smaller you shrink down your pad, the more heat, the more aggressive the cut, and the more you get into that. So I would actually prefer you guys use something like a large foam pad when polishing vinyl wrap here. But it's very straightforward. Don't go crazy with it. Again, skip the compounds. We're not going crazy on that. There's no need to two-step this or get that aggressive. If it's that aggressive, you need to fix your wash cycle, or you should have gotten your vehicle coated beforehand. So let's try this out here. This has been one of my go-to polishes as of late. This is Sonax Perfect Finish. This is unbelievable for cutting on very soft paint. I actually use this somewhat as a compound, but it finishes out amazingly well. I've already tested it on this. It looks really nice. So I'm gonna do this little section here. Of course, I should be using the large one, but just for this demonstration, I wanna show you guys my arm speed, what kind of speed I'm at, what kind of pressure. Basically, I just want to hold the machine on there. I don't want to let it dance at all. I'm going to be running between a 2 and a 3 here. We'll start at 3, kind of see what the vinyl is looking like, and I'm just going to tell you what I'm looking for and watching, but let's get after it. So all of that just for that little section. Let's see how it wipes off here. Wipes off incredibly easy, so that's exactly what we want. If we have what we call stiction, that would be where you'd go to wipe this and you're not removing any polish. It still looks cloudy and hazy. Now, I will bring you guys in close so you can just see a before and after on this, but I can already tell you the haze is gone. Quite a few little scratches are gone. It looks unbelievable. So let me bring you in and show you that 50-50. Well, here we go. So this is our before and over here is our after. So you can see how much better this looks. Now we got quite a few scratches out. It is not perfect by any means, but I would say for a vinyl wrap, this is what we're going for. Now you may be seeing all these little speckles in there. That is likely pitting from a few rock chips. So that is one of the issues that you run into with vinyl wrap. As I look back here, all these little white dots, that has completely gone through the film and is showing the actual paint underneath. So that may be a consideration if you're wanting to get a vinyl wrap. It's not gonna look perfect, especially after you drive it for quite a few miles. But what I gotta say here is this looks 10 times better. Look at the light over here. This just looks absolutely nasty. You can see we got mostly all the scratches. I can still see a few here and there, but I'm pretty pleased with this. This is the result you should be looking for in this regard. Now there will be areas on vinyl that you're gonna have permanent staining. Now that could be bugs on the front end. If we get to that point, I'll definitely show you. But here, I can definitely see a stain right there. And I'm hoping, I did polish out this little spot here. I hope you guys can still see this. This was already polished. I think a lot of this is probably from the winter time, the magnesium chloride and things like that we use here on the roads. I think I can probably use a little bit more heat, a little bit more pressure, probably do this a second time. This was just a quick little test spot with a polish that I was using, and I think this will come out quite well, but you may get to the point here if you don't have a ceramic coated vinyl wrap that you're gonna run into this particular issue. I hope that, of course, not to be the case here, but we'll kind of see once we get through this. So next steps, guys, I'm just gonna continue going after this, and I'm gonna throw you guys on a time lapse. Doesn't really make sense for me to spend time and you can watch the entire, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours of polishing on this. We'll see how long it takes and I'll definitely let you know. But let's throw you guys on a time lapse and let's get the Rivian looking a whole heck of a lot better. Well, we're of course working on the front end here, and I want to talk and go into a little bit more about some of the issues that I see quite often, not only on vinyl, but paint protection film as well. Now, I've done multiple videos on this talking about it, but one of the biggest issues of using basically a material that goes over paint is the inherent nature of it. It is so much softer than normal paint. Now, you guys hear me talk about soft paint and hard paint, but realistically, this stuff is so much softer. Now, the issue that we run into with this is bug stains. Now, ceramic coatings do help with this, but also you will see over time, even with a ceramic coated PPF or a vinyl wrap, you can run into bug staining issues. Now, part of the problem is bugs are very acidic. When essentially they splat onto the front end of your vehicle, they sit there, they start to eat away the material that they're sitting on. Now, what's funny down here is we do have some bug staining on this painted black plastic here, but that would be no issue to remove. Quick compound, quick polish, completely removed. Now, I've had situations bugs that have sat on a car for a long period of time. Sometimes you may have to lightly wet sand it with 3000 grit, kind of hammer it a little bit, get some compound and polish on there, and it's completely gone. Now, the issue with vinyl and paint protection film, because it is so soft, once it is etched, as you can see here, it is essentially permanent. We can't go in and wet sand this. We can't really compound this. There's not enough material there. So that's one of the issues with vinyl wrapping or doing paint protection film on your vehicle. It inherently needs to be more kind of babied, if you will. You have to wash it more frequently. You have to go through and be a little bit safer than you would with paint. This stuff scratches way easier. It also is very susceptible to bug stains. So this entire area up here, if I move the lens around, you can really see this bug staining in there. Now, what I want you to look at is basically it looks like it has eaten away the layer, and that's exactly what happens. Even down here, if you're looking at this under a microscope, essentially what you're going to see is somewhat of a flat surface, right? And then these bug etchings are going to do this in the material, and that's what's going to cause the issue there. Now, again, if this was paint, go in compound, you level it, polish it out, looks perfect. Worst case scenario, you have to wet sand it. There's really not much you can do here. So that is one of the problems with this. And this entire front end, Kyle doesn't have a ton of time. He is constantly on the road. The cars go on road trips. They get parked outside. Now, one of the issues with a darker colored vehicle like this is you're more susceptible to bug staining. If this was a white vinyl wrap, the panels don't heat up quite as much. So it's not necessarily only the bugs, but it's also, you park this thing outside, it gets heated up, cools down at night, heats up, cools down at night. Now, vinyl wraps, paint protection film, and paint alike all basically expand and contract in heat and cold. And this just kind of makes the problem that much worse. So really running into a ton of bug staining, as you can see on here, all of those right there. That is essentially permanent, and that kind of stinks. Now, again, I would say that ceramic coating will help. What helps even more with things like bug staining is washing the vehicle more frequently. Having a vinyl wrapped vehicle in an area with a ton of bugs, and this goes for paint and paint protection film as well. If you're, once a month washing the vehicle, that can be an issue. But especially on this, I would really recommend at least once a week getting the bugs off. You don't need to do a full wash on it, but you got to get the bugs off of here. So we're trying to make this look better. I'm not super thrilled with how this is coming out, but honestly, this is where we're at. I can't do anything more. I did try compounding a little section just to see what it would do. Didn't do a single thing. Those are etched in there so incredibly bad. So even up here on the areas like mirrors, if you really look at these, you can actually tell how they're eating away the film there. And that's, again, just one of the problems with this. So wanted to update you guys with that. Some deep scratches in this, which is, again, inherent to vinyl. It's just kind of one of those unfortunate things. Now, realistically, what I do see some folks do, which is very expensive, is they do a vinyl wrap. They put paint protection film over it. It'll help tremendously with the scratches, but you will still get this bug staining. So that can be an issue as well. It's just, this is why I don't want to really get into this, but this is why I'm kind of a purist, if you will, with paint. I just like paint, do a ceramic coating on it, maintain it often, and the cars look absolutely incredible. I mean, vinyls are very cool, but they do have their negatives to them. Everything has pros and cons to it, so just take that into consideration when you're, considering doing a vinyl wrap, paint protection film, or leaving your painted vehicle and do a ceramic coating. There's all pros and cons to each. My personal opinion, get the color car you want, paint correction, ceramic coating, and enjoy the darn thing. So we're going to keep working on this. I'm just going to, again, throw you guys on the time lapse, but it's definitely unbelievable how much stuff is coming off of the vinyl wrap here. You can actually see basically all the rings around here. That is embedded dirt that is actually in there. So it is just truly soaking up everything. Again, the porous nature of this. So let's continue. Hopefully we're gonna make this look a heck of a lot better. Well, you guys just saw me finish polishing the entire wrap here, and I gotta say, it does look quite a bit better. I'm kind of fighting myself as a OCD, very perfectionist type detailer, not to go more and more crazy on this, but definitely the sheen has come back. We got so much of that contamination off. It was unbelievable the crap I was pulling off into the pad, turning it this nasty brownish gray color on there. I mean, this stuff just holds on to dirt. So this is definitely a little bit of a lesson with a vinyl wrap. Get it coated day one. Now, I actually called G from Test Bros who installed the vinyl wrap here on Kyle's Rivian. And I said, do you have any tricks up your sleeve that you know of when you get, you know, bug stains or really, really deep scratches? How do you remove those? And he said, all you can really do is polish it, which sounds like exactly what you're doing. He said, you know, that's part of this. This is really a temporary aesthetic change on this. It's not meant to be bulletproof. There are some shortcomings with it. So I think it's realistic to know if you guys do get a vinyl wrap, again, you're gonna hear me reiterate this probably once or twice more, at least in this video. Make sure you get it coated right away to avoid potential issues like this. Now, it's not gonna be bulletproof, but it will help quite a bit. And G said that, you know, these bug stains on here, likely 90% of them wouldn't be there if you get them washed off quickly, you had it ceramic coated, but in this case, this is how it is. So let me just show you around here. Definitely not perfect, like I said, but I think we got a pretty good finish on this. So you'll remember areas like this, quite a few scratches in here. You can see some dog slobber marks that are literally here and here. Those have etched the vinyl, so there's really nothing we can do there. I went decently aggressive on polishing. I actually bumped up the speed a little bit, put a little bit more pressure on there, and it didn't seem to make a huge difference. And that's what G was saying. Once it's in there, it's kind of in there. So do keep that in mind. Now back here, this whole area is definitely quite an issue, as well with some of the sides. We have quite a bit of etching from actual chemicals. So let me show you this area over here. All of those little spots in there, unfortunately, are kind of permanent in there. That is from mag chloride. This area is just as bad over here. You can see some over there. It's really, really harsh on vinyl wraps. Again, I wish we would have had this coated, but unfortunately, it didn't happen on this one. That is kind of the nice thing though with vinyl. It's not crazy expensive to have done like PPF or, you know, something else like painting your vehicle. Of course, you know, you can rip it off, do a new design. So that's one of the shortcomings with vinyl wrap, of course. So next steps here. There are a few little things I need to do before we get it ceramic coated. Number one, some hand polishing. And that hand polishing is going to be within the letters there. You can really see that's how it looked before. Again, still some pitting up there. I just, yeah, it kills me not to get things perfect, but unfortunately on stuff like this, you just have to stop. If we kept going, we're gonna cause more damage here. So we have to do, you know, unfortunately kind of a not necessarily bare minimum, but we have to go a step below perfection, of course. So I need to come in here with all the Rivian badges on both sides, the rear one and the R1T logo on the back, hand polish all that up so it doesn't look so terrible. Then we're gonna get prepped for ceramic coating. Now, the prep stage, of course, we've done most of the major cleaning, polishing, getting all the contaminants out of the actual film here. The next step will be to use a product called Geon Prep. Now, I use this on basically everything that I ceramic coat, from paint to vinyl wrap to plastics down here to wheels, whatever it may be. This process is very, very straightforward, but one of the most important. Basically, this product, you spray it on, wipe it off, removes polishing oils, anything left on the surface. That way we get a good proper bond of this ceramic coating. Now when I do this, I do 2 wipe downs of it. So basically bring it in, clean microfiber towel, you spray this down, wipe it away, flip and dry. Do that 2 times throughout the entire vehicle just to ensure you got absolutely everything, and then you're on to coating. Honestly, not a very challenging process to do, so I'm not gonna film it. You guys, if you're very, very interested in that, can watch some of my ceramic coating videos that I've done. But let's get those polished. Let's get this wiped down. And next clip you're gonna see, we're gonna start coating. I'll do a basically little tutorial on what you need to look for, how to actually do it on a vinyl wrap. We'll do a time lapse, and then we'll finish the video. Ceramic coating time now. So we've got this, of course, all polished up. We've got the Geon Prep wipe down done twice. Now we are ready to finally ceramic coat it. So today we are going to be using Geon Mo's Evo. Now this is basically a consumer version of what I use here at the shop, which is Geon Infinite Base Type 1. Now this is a paint coating. Now again, as I talked about, I've used PPF, I've used vinyl coatings out there, haven't been a huge fan of them. I've actually used these coatings quite a bit. Kyle's Volkswagen e-Golf that I wrapped a few months ago, we coated in Geon Mo's Evo. Looks fantastic, fantastic performer. The important thing to know about this ceramic coating, it's a little bit different from something that's heavily SiO2 based. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking of something like Seacorts UK, something in that nature. This is polyxylosate based, meaning that it applies slightly different. Now, the biggest thing you need to know, very quick flash times. If you're not familiar with flash times, go watch some other ceramic coating videos that I've done that'll help you understand a little bit more. This is gonna be a pretty straightforward process. So we've got 2 towels here. We've got our applicator pad, very, very simple to do. So let's get this portion of the hood here going. So I'm gonna crack open the bottle here. Going to apply right around 2 droppers or so, and I like to work in a T motion here. Now, I'm definitely feeling this feels a lot more tacky than it would on perfectly polished out paint, which is not going to be an issue whatsoever. It's just got a little bit more grab because of the actual material on here, but look how quickly this actually flashes. Hopefully you guys can see that through the camera. Once it starts sweating, it comes off immediately. It is literally within 5 seconds, it chemically bonds to whatever material it's going onto. Boom, it's ready to come off. So I'm gonna come in with my first towel, unbelievably slick. So just really, really makes that surface nice. I'm gonna flip over here, hit that section. I'm gonna come over to my second towel here. I like to work in, yes, kind of a swirl motion. Just, I feel like it applies quite a bit better to the panel. Boom, we are good to go there. I'm gonna quickly check this, make sure we don't have any spots that I may have missed. Looking good to go. And we'll continue moving around the vehicle. So I'm gonna throw you guys on a time lapse. I'm gonna get this knocked out and get it looking perfect. And just like that, we have coated the vinyl wrap. It's looking definitely a lot better, not perfect. That's one of the frustrating things with working on projects like this for me. I like to make cars absolutely perfect. Of course, used vehicles, you can make a huge transformation. They're never exactly perfect, but it really frustrates me that we couldn't get the bug stains out. We couldn't get areas like this in the back completely dialed in, but realistically, I think for this vehicle, it looks a heck of a lot better. It's got some protection on there now with the ceramic coating, of course, and Kyle can go beat it up and take it off trails and do all of the testing for the Out of Spec Reviews channel, of course. Now, the most important thing with ceramic coatings, you need to let them cure after the fact. So no water within 24 hours falling on there. Really fully cures within quite a bit of a week or so. So make sure you can keep it out of the elements as much as possible to extend the lifespan. Now, Gionmo's Evo went on very, very nice. Again, this is a DIY friendly product. Realistically, if it's your first time, just work slow, work in small areas, but this is a product that I see a lot of professional detailers like myself even use. Great, great product, and I think the durability and performance of it is truly awesome. Realistically, it's a 3 to 4 year coating. With a vinyl wrap, I would say probably a little bit less because it's more porous. So realistically, I would say maybe once every 2 years, you probably want to repolish your wrap, recoat it, expand that lifespan of durability on there. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. Unfortunately, all cars cannot be exactly perfect, and sometimes these details don't go exactly as planned. I was hoping to get this thing absolutely dialed in for Kyle, but unfortunately, this is some stuff you deal with vinyl wrap and not doing the precautionary steps ahead of time. But I gotta say, the gloss on here looks fantastic. So tomorrow, I've got to completely finish up detailing this, coating all the plastic trim, dialing in the interior, getting the windows all cleaned up. But for this video, we are done. If there's any questions you have about vinyl wraps, about coating them, polishing them that I didn't cover in this video, definitely leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'll try to answer as many as I possibly can. But thanks so much for joining us on another out of spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. We'll see you in the next one very, very soon. Bye-bye.